Hey all, welcome to ShareTreck. It's the 12th of April 2022, and I have looked at the futures. They look good. It's around 290 basis points increase in the futures for Nasdaq. So there is a temporary reprieve. And as always, now that it's around 12th, I'm going to be looking forward to offload profitable shares that I have because May is going to be a downward month. That's my opinion. Having said that, again, today's video is going to be three parts. The first part is going to be about initial outlook, the economy, market news, anything that can impact the markets today. The second one is going to be a technical analysis of crypto, basically Bitcoin, gold, Nasdaq, and VIX, and how they're going to influence the market today. And finally, we are going to get into the Genomic shares as soon as the market opens. Right now, it's 9:15 a.m. So let's get started. Let's start with the headlines. Consumer prices rose 8.5% in March, slightly hotter than expected and highest since 1981. As a result, I have seen the stock futures jump, especially for Nasdaq, as investors are thinking that peak inflation has already been reached and now it is going to be a downward trend. And I believe the same too, and I'll talk about that probably on the weekend video. Biden is waiving ethanol rule in bid to lower gasoline prices. So the president has made some policy changes. And what President Biden is saying that the Environmental Protection Agency will issue an emergency waiver to allow widespread sale of 15% ethanol blended fuel that is usually prohibited between June 1 and September 15 because of concerns that it adds to smog in high temperatures. This move should save drivers around 10 cents per gallon. It's another bid by the president to do whatever he can in order to reduce the impact of inflation on the common man. It's a welcome step, but it's again anti-environmental. But we are stuck between a rock and a hard place. What can we do? So now I have some news from China. I've been looking especially at the Chinese economy to see what's happening there, because I think the US economy and the Chinese economy is like ice and fire. When they get together, things will come normal, because what is happening in the US is very different from what is happening in China. They have a problem where they need to prop up the economy, and in US, the problem is to cool down the economy. So what China has also done is it has stepped up stimulus with infrastructure bond sales. And President Xi has also signaled that his common prosperity goals will be set back for a while until he gets the economy back on track. So those are the things that are happening in the economy. And in my books, I think they're all the right steps in the right direction. US is monitoring claims of possible Russian chemical attack in Ukraine. This is one geopolitical factor which is going to cause concern for the market. There are a lot of other micro problems brewing. For example, Sri Lanka is having a lot of problem with its debts. And of course, we have the hyperinflation issue with Turkey, which we don't talk about too often. So there are a lot of small fires burning here and there, and there's a lot of autocratic governments across the country which have their own issues which are not transparent to us. So overall, the risks are loaded. And with the US economy being in a fragile condition, and likewise with China, two of the biggest economies having problems, it's time for US and China to work closely together in order for US to import the deflation from China, and in order for China to import the inflation from US, and get somewhere the global economy to be in kind of a balance. And that would be the best outcome. But if wishes were horses, things could happen. So anyway, that's about what I have got today for the headlines. Now let's look at the crypto and other sectors and Nasdaq and VIX before the market starts. It's around 9:20 a.m. right now. So let's go on to the VIX. Let's start off by looking at Bitcoin. So Bitcoin has gained back overnight after hitting the support. So you can see here we have this diagonal line of support, this green line. So it has worked precisely. So Bitcoin has hit this support, and it's back up again. Its next resistance is going to be at 41,356, which is this red line out here, red horizontal line. And the MACD is looking bearish, but the momentum is picking up. This is what is going to make the difference. So I'm expecting Bitcoin to gain today because Nasdaq is likely to gain based on the Nasdaq futures. So Bitcoin is loosely correlated with Nasdaq. So if Nasdaq goes up, Bitcoin is most likely to go up. And if we were to look at gold, gold is again making an upward move. As you can see, we have broken through the bullish pennant and we are moving upwards, and we have this floor out here, which happens to be at 18.69. And we have support from the 9-day and 20-day exponential moving average. MACD is bullish. Momentum is above average and pulling up. So gold is going to reflect inflation, because as the value of dollar drops, the amount of dollars you need to buy gold is going to increase. That's how gold price increases. So gold is talking about potential decline in the value of the dollar. So with that, let's go and look at our indicators. So if we look at the indicators, let us start off with oil first. Oil is up 3.57%, and it's going to hit this resistance, which is this diagonal line that we have drawn, which has a touch point from previous lower highs. So we have at least 3 touch points, which is the bare minimum needed for this kind of a diagonal line to be valid. We have more than 3. So I'm hoping that we hit that line and we come back down again, because the ethanol news from Joe Biden is going to make some difference and impact out here. And also the Shanghai lockdown is still at play. So I think this we should hit the 50-day exponential moving average and start moving down. Our MACD is bearish but tending towards the signal line, but momentum is pointing towards the average and pointed upwards. So the momentum is telling a different story. So let us hope that the momentum is indicating that we are going to go and raise all the way up to the 50-day or the 9-day exponential moving average, or this diagonal red line, and then we are going to drop back down again. With that in mind, let us look at VIX. This is the live VIX, and this candle that we are seeing out here is the candle for 12th of April. And we can see we opened higher and we dropped significantly. We dropped below 24.28, which was our earlier support. So I'm going to mark that green. And we have dropped below the 9-day and the 100-day exponential moving average. So we have support from the 20-day exponential moving average. Let us see what happens today. The MACD is bullish and moving away from the signal line, but momentum is pointed to below average. So I think the momentum is indicating that we are going to fall, and which means the QQQ will go up. Right now, the market is not yet open, and the last candle we have here is for the 11th of April. And if you notice, we have a small gap out here. So I'm expecting that when we open, we are going to clear this gap. Maybe we might probably open at 349. Let us see what QQQ is saying here. The pre-market QQQ is at 346.06. So 346.06 is somewhere out here. So we are just going to move and open up above where we opened yesterday, and then we'll see what happens to the market. Anyway, we have this diagonal line of support here, which is not valid because it doesn't have more than 2 touch points, but we have put a placeholder out there, and we hope that helps us. So with that, let's wait for the market to open up. Let us look at S&P in the meantime. S&P 500 is fallen below the critical support line that we had here, which was at 443.83, which is now this diagonal red line. And as I had mentioned in my earlier video, this was a critical support, and with this fall, we are looking at further falls in S&P 500. I'm going to attempt to plot a support line out here, which could be our next line of support. So there is a weak support at 435.64 and one at 429.85, which is much stronger. So let us see what happens today. The MACD is bearish and it's moving away from the signal line. Momentum is also bearish and pointed downwards. So S&P 500 is going to lose. However, based on the futures, it seems both Nasdaq as well as S&P 500 are going to open positive. And the assumption is that peak inflation has already been reached. When that assumption changes, we might see everything drop back again. When that will happen, I don't know. It could happen intraday or it could happen tomorrow. Today could also be a dead cat bounce. Let us wait and watch what happens. The markets are now open, and I'm going to go off to look at our biotech shares. But before that, let us quickly have a look at oil. Oil is hitting this resistance line. Hopefully it comes back down. But looking at the indicators, it doesn't look like that. So we'll have to wait and watch. If oil goes up, VIX is going to go up to. Right now, VIX is still down. It's down 4.72%. This is live VIX. And if we look at QQQ, which is the live proxy for Nasdaq, it's up 0.95% and continuing to move upward. And this candle that you see here today is the candle for today. And we actually opened higher in the morning, and then we have dropped steadily down, and we have fallen below the support of 344.63, which now becomes a resistance for us. That's why I marked it as red. So let us see what happens in the market today. My opinion is that nothing much has changed. And after the initial bit of confusion, maybe midday market will start going down. Before that, I need to go and sell my profitable shares and hold the cash. So I'm going to finish this session pretty quick. Let's look at the Genomic shares very quickly. Let's go on to the biotech list, and let's just sort it. Editas is the biggest gainer today, and it has gone above the resistance of 18.20. I'm going to mark this as a support by turning it green. So our MACD is bearish but tending towards the signal line. Momentum is below average but pointed up. So I'm confident that we are going to move up as long as positive bias is there in the market. The moment the market concludes that inflation has not peaked, we might see a reversal. DNA is up 3.73%, still struggling with the 9-day exponential moving average. We had to break through that first. MACD is bearish but tending towards the signal line. Momentum is promising and pointing upwards and very close to average. So it's looking positive for DNA right now. Allogene is up 3.31%, and we have a doji candle formed out here with a resistance from the 9-day exponential moving average. Momentum is below average but pointing upwards, so that's a positive, but it's still very weak. MACD is tending towards a signal line despite being bearish. So the combination of these two makes me feel if the positive sentiment remains in the market, we may retain some of these gains, or else we are going to end flat or negative for Allogene. Caribou Biosciences up 3.02%, and we are still got 9-day exponential moving average as a resistance. MACD is bullish but tending, MACD is bearish but tending towards a signal line in a bullish manner, but the momentum is very weak despite being pointed upwards. So overall, I think if the market sentiments remain positive, we can retain these gains. But if the conclusion is that the inflation has not yet peaked, then things are going to turn around, and Caribou Biosciences may end up flat or negative. Teladoc is up 3.77%. We are going to hit this resistance line, this red diagonal line, which has been a resistance for the longest time. Our MACD is bearish but tending towards a signal line. Momentum is sharply raising. So I am thinking that Teladoc might probably today break through this upper bound line and convert that into a support like we did before. And we'll take it from there. But for that, we need the momentum to stay positive today. PSEB is up 3.29%. Again, struggling against the 9-day exponential moving average. MACD is bearish but tending towards the signal line. That's a bullish sign. Momentum is below average but sharply rising. So that's a positive for PSEB. And if you look at CRISPR Therapeutics, it's up 3.42%, and it has converted the 9-day exponential moving average into a support, and it's right now struggling against the 50-day exponential moving average, which is this green line out here. And the MACD is bearish but tending towards the signal line, which is a bullish sign. Momentum has picked up very sharply. So I think that we are going to convert the 50-day exponential moving average also into a support today if the positive bias remains beyond midday. Right now, the 50-day is standing at 63.69. We are at 63.30. We are thinking of adding another 39 cents before close of market. ARCG is up 2.27%. And it's going to encounter strong resistance from the 9-day exponential moving average and also the horizontal resistance at 44.39. MACD is bearish but tending towards the signal line, and momentum is sharply picking up even though it's below average. So positives in store for ARCG today, assuming market momentum remains positive. IMTX is up 1.76%, and we have our next resistance at $9.65. We have support from the 9-day exponential moving average right now, and momentum is above average and pointed upwards. That's a very, very good sign. We have still got plenty of space in the RSI before we become overbought. but MACD is bearish and moving away from the signal line. That's the major concern. So IMTX might end the day either flat or negative. Bluebird is up 1.11%, that is around 5-cent gain, still battling resistance with the 9-day exponential moving average, and MACD is bearish and tending towards the signal line in a bullish manner, but momentum is very weak and below average. So I don't think Bluebird is going to stay positive today. It may either end flat or negative. Beam is up 2.56%. 9-day exponential moving average is the next resistance. MACD is bearish but tending towards the signal line in a bullish manner. Momentum is below average but has sharply picked up. I don't think Beam is going to be able to retain all the positives today. Maybe it might end up positive 25 cents before end of the day. It all depends on whether market continues to believe that inflation has peaked. Intelia is up 0.54%, and that's around 33 cents gain. And we still have this diagonal line of resistance, this red line, and the 9-day exponential moving average as main resistance for us. MACD is bearish. Momentum is absolutely weak. Intelia is going to lose these gains that it has got and end up flat or negative. Verve is up 3.68%. 9-day exponential moving average is still our resistance. MACD is bearish but tending towards the signal line in a bullish manner. Momentum is below average but sharply raising. So Verve is likely to end up the day either slightly positive or flat. IBB is up 0.72%. Again, 9-day and the 20-day exponential moving average are the resistance, whereas the 100-day exponential moving average is giving a support to us right now. But the price is most likely to break down below that because MACD is bearish and moving away from the signal line, even though the momentum is picking up and it's just about average. So I think if I look at IBB as an overall trend, it's a mixed picture. I don't think IBB is going to stay positive today. So I would predict that the entire genomic sector has got a bearish bias. Now let us look at Illumina. Illumina is up 0.61%. We have a doji candle here, constrained on the top by the 20-day exponential moving average and the bottom by the 50 exponential moving average, performing some kind of a support. MACD is bearish and moving away from the signal line. Momentum is below average and pointed upwards. So I think that Illumina is likely to lose some of the gains before it closes today. It may either close slightly positive or flat. Regeneron is up. Regeneron is down minus 0.03%. And I think that it's going to fall further today because the MACD, even though bullish, is trending towards the signal line and momentum is above average but flat. Vertex is down 0.49%. And we are going to end up with the support of the 9-day exponential moving average before closing the day because the MACD, though bullish, is pointing towards the signal line and momentum is absolutely strong, but the RSI is overbought and it's trying to move down and cool off a little bit. So that cooling pressure is going to be there. So Vertex is going to end up negative today. Novartis is down minus 0.43%. And we are well within our cone where the support on the top has been broken and we have come down below it. I'm just going to expand this chart so that we can get a very, very clear look of where our candle is for today. So if you look at the small green candle here, this is today's candle. We are well within our pennant here. And our next support is going to be this red line out here, which I'm going to turn into green. It's at 92.90, which is our next support. And we have the 9-day exponential moving average as the support after that. MACD is bullish but tending towards the signal line. Momentum is absolutely crazy, but RSI is overbought. So it's going to cool down. So there's going to be a cooling down pressure for Novartis, and we're going to lose a little more before we close the day. So Novartis is going to end the day in red. Pfizer is down 0.50%. And we have our 9-day exponential moving average as our resistance and our 20-day exponential moving average as our support right now. MACD is bullish but tending towards the signal line. Momentum is above average but pointed downwards. So Pfizer is going to lose a little more and end the day further negative, maybe minus 35 cents before the close of the day. So that brings me to a close of the biotech shares. If I was to summarize everything, I would say that right now the market believes that the inflation has peaked out. My personal belief is also that inflation has peaked out. But If the market changes its opinion, maybe closer towards the end of the day or after midday, then all the gains that we see here are going to turn into losses. So that's what I will leave you with. Be careful, take profits wherever you can. That would be my opinion. But as always, these are just my opinions. Please perform your own due diligence and consult your financial advisor before you make any decisions to buy or sell or invest today. Thanks and have a great day. Bye for now.